Welcome to the Lead with Your Soul podcast. I'm Michelle Wright, your host and fellow traveler on this journey of self-discovery. This podcast is designed for women navigating life transitions and yearning to embrace their true selves. I'll be sharing my personal journey from navigating the complexities of divorce and blending families to reshaping my career to something that resonates with my soul. With 3 decades as a teacher and mentor, I'm here to share insights, heartfelt stories, and practical strategies. Together, we'll explore how to cultivate self-love and create the vibrant, fulfilling life you deserve. Join me each week as we dive deep into the art of living authentically. Welcome to the Lead with Your Soul podcast. I'm Michelle Wright, your host, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. I was walking my dog and just getting into the day. I was really thinking about fear and just the sneaky, creative ways that it flows and blocks your life. And for me, this was about doing some work in my business and planning a new project that I was doing. And it's just so amazing how fear can just take over your mind and just have you start doing things like procrastinating or cleaning the bathrooms, which I hate, instead of actually doing the work that you need to help you move forward. I don't know if you find that, but I'm sure you do. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about that and just explore ways that I'm finding are helping me and hope that they'll help you. Because in transformation or creating things that we want to create to come alive in our life, it's usually fear that blocks us. It's that fear, and it comes, as I say, in those sneaky ways because it's thoughts that come in. And it might be thoughts from programming or blocks or shadow work that we still need to do. And so we don't even realize that it's happening. And I find for me, that's the thing, is the sneaky fear is sometimes harder to catch. Fear that has your heart pumping and you're really worried and like it's just top of mind and you can feel it. I know I need to deal with that. I know I need to calm, and I immediately address some of the issues because I can really feel it in my body. But the sneaky way that fear comes in and just has me look at one more thing that I could do before I actually do the work. And so I recognize that I have fear about creating this new container and what that can mean for me and this new program, this coaching program that I'm creating, working with women going through divorce and just the transitions that happen. And I know in those transformations, even when I was in them, that fear is such a huge part of it. And fear can make you stuck. And there is that big, deep fear that is surrounded with sadness and with grief and that heavy, dense fear. And that one you need to deal with in a very different way. That's why what I'm talking about is this fear. So when you're on the other end of transformation and now you're trying to change your actions, your thoughts, your behaviors into actually taking steps towards what the new you, the new actions, whatever you're creating, those steps taking steps towards what you're creating. Those small steps, those each and every day steps, you have to start taking those. And that's where I have found fear is so deeply sneaky. So I was thinking about that on my walk and my beautiful trees and just breathing that in and just saying, what is it that I need to know about this? What is it I need to release? And then a beautiful deer just came across the path, was far enough away so that my dog would allow me to walk through without going a little bit nuts. And this deer just looked at me and you could see the sun coming through the trees, the green around him. And it really reminded me about the meaning of the deer. And one of those meanings is to be really gentle with yourself. It's this kind, gentle energy. And that thought that came in immediately fit. Because for me, what I do when I do recognize fear and I'm like, oh, I'm fearful, I need to do this. Okay, let's start working hard. Let's dig in. What's my to-do list? What's this? And I almost go with too much critical energy that kind of evolves into, then I get into a cycle of shame and guilt because I'm not doing it and I'm not better than myself. I've been working at this, working at my guilt, transforming for years. It just give me different areas in my life that I've been transforming. And the gentle is to say, yes, sweetheart, that's true. You have been transforming. And that's what your life is about. It's one transformational opportunity and experience after another. You are your entire life going to be in a state of creatively being and transforming and evolving into that next level. Not always in such intense, difficult, challenging situations, but you are going to be pushing yourself to a growth edge. And so whatever you create as a new normal will have a new growth edge. You're always going to have that area that you're pushing yourself forward. But this dear energy this morning just really beautifully reminded me to do this in a gentle way, a methodic way, and being kind to myself as I do it. So that's exactly what I started doing. I started thinking gently about my situation and gently about how I could move forward. And every time I felt my mind going to that shame and guilt, I had to stop and say, nope, you're not going to go into that shame and guilt that I have gone with so often in my life, and then feeling bad because I didn't do the list. I needed to stop and I needed to say, I'm moving forward in a different way. I'm going to set these goals for myself. And if I achieve them, that is great. And what is it ultimately that I'm trying to do? Now, for me, I'm a big picture person. So for me, I can see big pictures. And so I need to break mine down into small, detailed chunks to get where I need to be. For me, the good thing is I can see a big picture and then I can adjust because I don't have the little detailed actions always done. It allows me to adjust easily and change where I'm going with my details. And so, see right there, I'm just starting to think about how it's helpful. How is it helpful for me to be a big picture thinker and then slowly move in details? And it can be the opposite. Whatever you are, you're coming with your strengths. You're coming with your natural gifts and talents, and you need to really work with those to help you move forward. And actually, when I was in my educational leadership life, I had to take one of these skill testing questions with the Gallup poll. And one of the things that it looked at is it actually looked, do you think that we have more growth by identifying our strengths and working on those strengths, or by identifying our weaknesses and working on our weaknesses? And the interesting thing is actually it's our strengths. When they empirically measured the growth of individuals, they did much better by working on their strengths. So identifying what your strength is and then continuing to move forward using your strengths in those areas. Part of the reasons that they were hypothesizing why that might be so is because we really hate working on the things that we suck at. I am not a good skater. So do you know what I don't put into my daily winter life is skating. My ankles hurt, I fall, and it's hard. So I know that I could get better at skating. I know that if that was what I needed to do, but to really work at that, it's hard. So start with your strengths. My strength is big picture. My strength is understanding from the big picture and taking one small detailed action that I can today. Which brings me to my podcast, because that is one of the small actions that I can take today. And those achievable goals that I talk about, they can be SMART goals, they can be different ways. That's how people have talked about them. And really, we make the best change when it's just a small tweak. We're just tweaking what we already do well and just tweaking it towards what we want to become. And so, me even coming down into my room, me even setting up time, that's what I need to do in my schedule is I set up time and expectations that I'm in my workspace and that I'm in this space that I come to. And I absolutely love it when I come down here because I have incense, I have all of my salt lamps, my rocks, all of my books and my cards. It is just full. It is just full of what inspires me. So I know that if I can get down here and I have a small goal, that it will start. It will just naturally start to be inspired. Which brings me to another thought. I've been reading a book by Carolyn Meese called Grace. Now, on my arm, I also have a tattoo, Grace, and it was inspired by her. As I speak about this, it reminds me as well of this book that I've been reading by Carolyn Meese called Grace. And I have a tattoo with that word on my arm. And I got that inspired from Carolyn Meese. Not this book, but she's been speaking about grace for many years. So I had borrowed a cassette from my mother. Yes, it was that long ago. It was cassettes. And she spoke about that, just the transformative power of grace. And just said it with deep prayer. And just talked about that grace has such an ability to transform us in ways we can't even imagine. And in the book, Grace, she goes even more specifically and aligns them with the 7 chakras. But just before I came down here, as I was getting ready for my walk and preparing to do this podcast, one of the things that it said, a quote from the book where she talked about grace, part of transformation. First, we might have with our mental, how we think, our body, how we act, how we feel, how we move forward. And then there's a mystical aspect of transformation. And we as humans can't do that all by ourselves. So it really is about calling in that mystical aspect of grace that we can't touch, we can't define. We just know with our hearts and our souls are there. And Carolyn Meese talks about invoking it through prayer. And maybe for you, prayer might be something you're new to, or maybe you feel very comfortable with. Prayer is just saying words that come straight from your heart, from your soul, and they're just that essence of you. Another thing about prayer is that there's no way to be wrong in prayer. And some people, when they evoke this grace, it might be to God. Some people might call that universe, creator, whatever feels most comfortable for you. It's just that essence, that energy that is so much bigger than each of us. So we can feel our individual energy. And when we connect to this universal God energy, creator energy, we feel an essence of what it's like to be in the whole. And so I just ask you to just take a moment, just take a deep breath. And together, we're just going to pray for grace to come into our lives. So just saying, grace, your transformative power is incredible, amazing, and so unique as I try to understand it and get brought to a complete other universe and understanding. I'm trying to transform. I'm trying to change. And there are so many ways that I can feel myself twisted up, bound, and blocked. And I ask the grace of transformation, joy, love, peace, healing to settle into my body, settle into my mind, and inspire my spirit and my soul to guide me in the ways that I need to move forward. Help me to see what I need to do. Help me to understand the next step. And help ease the fear, anxiety, shame, guilt that comes with transformation. Be with me, hold me, lift me up. Thank you. That is a prayer. Saying what comes from your heart. And you might need to say your own words, your own prayer. Put your hand on your heart. Some people find it's very important in a very specific physical stance that they take, or if they are in a space where they feel more comfortable, more alive, more connected. Maybe it's with candles, incense. What I'm going to try doing in my life is I'm looking at setting those small, achievable goals. I'm looking at being gentle with myself in this transformational change because I don't yet know what I'm becoming. I don't yet know what it is. And that fear of what I don't know is hard. It's difficult. So I'm going to be gentle with myself. That's that reminder. Don't get into that shaming and guilt and you should be this, you should have done that. You should just stop. I'm stopping that. I'm just going to go, nope, I'm meeting you where you are. And I am now going to surrender to that mystical power of grace in my life. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it surrounds me, how it unwinds me, and how it leads me forward. Because I know when I follow this grace, it's for the greatest good of me and the greatest good of you, the collective, all. Because the more that I lean into hope, healing, and light, the more I can bring that to the world. And the more I help the world in hope, healing, and light. I'm going to surrender. I'm going to trust. So those are some of the things that you might want to look at in your own life. Small, achievable goals, being gentle, forgiving, compassionate with yourself, and saying a prayer for grace, whether you use mine and you say it again, whether you say your own, whether you just close your eyes and feel grace, and you go into that mystical place beyond words. It's all accepted, it's all possible, and it's all there waiting for you and I. I look forward to hearing how you're on this journey and not letting that sneaky fear getting in your way. And how you're finding ways to continue to look forward, leap forward, sneak forward, tiptoe forward in your own life. So until next time, keep leading with your soul. That wraps up another episode of the Lead with Your Soul podcast. I'm so grateful you chose to spend this time with me. As you navigate your own life transitions, remember to be gentle with yourself and embrace the journey. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe and share it with others who might benefit. Join me next week for more insights and inspiration. Until next time, keep leading with your soul.